Hi, on this Thursday in September. How are you? I hope this podcast finds you doing great. Hi, I'm Carrie, and this is Conversations at Carrie's Corner. What are we all about? Well, picture for me for a second back to the 50s, to these beautiful diners that we used to have throughout the United States. You could go in, sit down at the bar, have a cup of coffee, slice of pie, or a hamburger, sit with somebody that you've never met before, and then come away with a great conversation, potentially a new friend or an acquaintance, or a new position on something that you may not have realized at the time you sat down. And it's transformative. And that's what this podcast is all about. Talking about the things that affect Americans and a lot of other people in the world too, not just Americans, but this is sort of targeted at Americans because we are living this right now. We are living this massive divide in our land, and we have got to figure out a way to get back to conversation. We are losing our ability to communicate with each other. And I think it's twofold. I think it's because we're now in this new fabulous technology age, which truly has transformed our societies, not just in the United States, but worldwide. We are way more connected. I have family that lives in Australia, and I am so incredibly happy that I can now communicate instantaneously, as long as we're on the same time schedule, to my loved ones. And that's a huge blessing in my life. Huge blessing in my life. But with that, in-person communication is slowly but surely not becoming the norm. And the effects of that are trickling down into our societies. And that's sad because communication is the key to everything in our society. We have to communicate with each other. We have to work with each other. We have to go to work and be employed by somebody, or employ somebody if you're a business owner like me. And communication is absolutely crucial. And it is why in the United States we have such a huge divide. We have the left and the right. And we have forgotten in this transformation of our society that we still have to respect each other. We have to respect each other's position. We're all not going to agree, nor should we. But the difference is we're losing respect for each other's position so much that it has divided our country in half. And families in half. Friendships are gone. It's a big, big deal. And I have watched all of this. I've experienced it myself. And I felt the need to create a place where we could talk about whatever. And both parties, both sides are accepted. Both parties will be respected, or there won't be a conversation. That's the rules. And a place where we can start a conversation, because that's truly where change can start. Is when we get back to the middle and we respect each other's opinions, we listen to each other, because you just never know. You might have thought something one way and then actually find out, wow, that's really not what I thought. And same for the other party, and then guess what? You've created this ability to have a dialogue which truly can change the trajectory of your life, our country, our humanity, our societies. And so that's why I made the decision to start this podcast. All subjects are going to be talked about here. Within reason. There won't be anything vile or explicit or untasteful. But I just had this feeling like I was watching relationships and friendships and our society crumbling, And my greatest skill in life has been my communication skills, and so that's why I am doing this. I want this to be a place where conversations can start, and then it can inspire somebody else to do the same thing. That's truly how true change begins. You know, I'm a middle-class American. I am Australian by birth, but I've been in the United States my entire life, basically, since I was a little girl. I've lived an American dream. I'm passionate about America. I want to see America be the greatest country in the world again. I feel like we have lost that. I feel like the division in our country is part of the reason why that has happened. Because, you know, societies cannot stand if they're divided within. That's a fact. So we have to bridge this divide, or else our society is going to crumble. I'm a middle class business owner. I have 3 companies. I'm married for 34 years, 3 children, 4 grandchildren, 3 companies. Just recently lost my beloved service dog of 12 years. I'm just an average person. And I'm desperately wanting to help others and our human existence be a better one. Because I'm a sort of a middle-class American, I'm suffering like so many others just to make ends meet. I got a report on my desk this morning that was sent to me by a dear friend of mine from Biden Economics, and it's a breakdown of what has happened since 2020 through 2024. It is a breakdown of the costs just to eat, just the basics, just what we need every week to survive. You know, this is nothing extravagant. This is just what we need to survive weekly. The basics, the basic food items. And I'm just sorry, my computer timed out on me here, so I'm just trying to get that back up so I can go over these numbers with you. And I am stunned at what I see. I've known it because I feel it in my pocketbook every time I go to the grocery store. I feel this incredible difference in what my dollars buy me versus what they did buy me 4 years ago. So today we're going to really dive into a report from Biden Economics. This is actually from Biden Economics, from the current administration's reports that have come out. And these numbers are truly, truly, truly devastating. Whether or not you are right or left, this shouldn't matter. This is fact. And this fact needs to get out to as many people because Americans are not educated. Americans do not have a system of facts, meaning the media, that we can trust anymore. So we have to, as Americans, find our own information and come to the conclusions on our own because we cannot trust the national news media anymore. Their conduct during this most recent debate proves that we cannot trust them on any level. They have been bought and paid for, and so they are now not a place where Americans should be going for facts. So here are some facts directly from the current administration. These are the costs of basic food items from January of 2020 through January of 2024. So a 4-year span. These are not accurate numbers because we're now in September, so these numbers are 9 months old, but here they are. The first one is orange juice. It was $2.99, now it is $4.29. 43% inflation. Coffee was $6.99, now it is $8.99. 28% inflation. White bread was $1.49, now it's $1.99. 33%. Eggs were $1.49, now they're $2.99. 100% inflation. Chicken breasts were $4.99, now they're $7.99. 60% inflation. Ground beef was $4.99, now it is $6.99. 40% inflation. Rice was 99 cents, now it's $1.49. 50% inflation. Iceberg lettuce was 99 cents, now it is $1.49. 50% inflation. Tomatoes, $2.99, they're now $3.99, 33%. Potatoes were $2.99, now they are $4.49, or a 50% inflation. Milk, $2.99, now it's $4.49. That is a 50% inflation. Butter was $3.99, now it is $5.49. That's a 37% inflation. Bananas were 99 cents a pound, now they are $1.49, or a 50% inflation. Cheerios, $2.99, now they're $4.29, or 43% inflation. Bologna was $2.99, now it is $4.29, 43%. The total for January of 20 was $39.28 versus $53.74. Oh, I forgot one. Cream of mushroom soup was 99 cents, and that is now $1.49, or a 40% rate increase, 40% inflation. So the totals were January of 20, you would spend $39.28. Now you're spending $53.74. That is a net inflationary increase of 36.87%. Wow. If you take all of those items and you average them out, the average is 46.22% inflation on basic items that you need to survive. This doesn't take into consideration gasoline, your rent, your mortgage, your electric bill, your clothing bill, your medical bill, your prescription bill, just your personal items to live on. This is just basic food that you have to survive. Now, the average American sees a 3% inflationary increase in their payroll. 3%. So if you take that off that number, you are looking at a 33% inflation in 4 years. It's no wonder the middle class is dying. It is no wonder we can't make ends meet. And then you, on top of that, you add banks that are gouging you with fees, credit cards who are hiking their interest rates because Americans are using their credit card because the inflation is so high they don't have enough money to pay their bills. People are losing their homes. People are losing their children because they can't take care of their children. This is a crisis. It is an absolute emergency, and Americans do not know this information because we do not have a mechanism to deliver the facts. That system, the national news media, is corrupt beyond repair. This is why I do this. If you are seeing this podcast and you did not know that this is what you were facing, now you know. Now you have information so you can make an informed decision in our current presidential race. Because it's very simple. We either elect somebody who has been part of the problem for 12 years, because you do not get to divorce yourself when you're the vice president of the country, because you are the final vote in all legislation from the Senate. You can't claim you didn't know. You can't claim you weren't a part of it. You cannot divorce yourself from the fact that you've been the vice president of this administration for the last 4 years. So you either are willing to accept, or you are willing to vote for somebody who has a previous proven track record of a stable, manageable, thriving economy. That should be the only part of our decision. Now, as far as policy is concerned, then you have to take into consideration the person. Are they strong enough to stand against Putin? Are they strong enough to stand against Xi Jinping? Will they prevent wars? Again, track records, facts are the truth. You have to be able to look at the facts and discern whether or not you want what we've had for 12 years, with the exception of 4 years in between, or you want that 4 years of prosperous life back. And we need strong leadership. We have strong problems, and we live in a dangerous world with dangerous dictators. And you have to be able to discern who has the strength and conviction to stand with those bad boys. I just feel like if you look at the facts, you look at the track records, your choice should be clear. It really should be clear. How do we as citizens turn this tide? How do we make our leaders accountable when we find ourselves in times of this kind of crisis? It's real simple. We've got to fire them. Like anybody else would be fired when they fail to do their job. That's really the only solution. Because if we continue to put people back in office who are failing the public, who are failing you and I, who are failing the middle class, the only people that are surviving and thriving is the upper 20% of our society, which are people who are clearing over $200,000 a year. Everyone else is struggling. We have retired people who are facing going back to work because their money now is not going to survive. We have people like me who thought they could retire in 2 years. There's no way. I'm so far behind now that if I'm lucky, maybe when I'm 70 in 8 years, that's not what I wanted. I want time with my family and travel and all these things, and it's not feasible. These are devastatingly hard numbers to look at. If you didn't truly understand the crisis at the grocery store, this will show you the crisis at the grocery store. And I encourage you to go to Biden Economics. This comes directly from their website. These are their numbers. And I just don't see how we can move past or allow somebody who has been part of the decision making in this land to remain. Everything in life we do has consequences. I tell this to my children every single day, it seemed. Okay, you've got a decision to make. Remember, there's consequences both ways. You have to be willing to accept the consequences with every decision. And frankly, the consequences of re-electing the same policies this time could be catastrophic to our society and to our country. And that's not trying to be, dramatic. That's just stating what is crystal clear and obvious. And what upsets me the most is that the people that we trust for our facts have sold themselves down the river. We can't trust anything the national news media says. Nothing. Because they have proven that they have been bought and sold by a political party. How are you ever going to say to the American people that you are non-biased? You can't. That ship sailed the minute you became aligned with one party over the other, and you forgot who you are supposed to be working for, the American public. So the American public has no choice but to fire you too. That's why so much of the American public now goes to podcasts, social media, radio, other forms of video where they can find out the real truth, the facts, to make an intelligent, informed decision. So please, take this information, go to Biden Economics, and check it out for yourself. And then really have a heartfelt conversation with yourself. Because personality and the way you speak to somebody, yes, it's important, but in the long run, is that really what this is all about? No. It's about our survival. And there's two choices. We either go to what has worked, and we have proof, or we take the same policies that have put us in the position that we are in again. That's where we are. I am really looking forward to being able to add guests to this podcast. Hopefully within the next couple of months we will be able to do that. And there's going to be another conversation about this. I can tell you, I have family and loved ones, friends, and we don't agree politically. We just don't. But we respect each other enough and love each other enough to respect their position. And we just simply, we don't allow it. We don't talk about it. We don't let it seep into our personal relationships. We divorce this from that. And that's what has to happen. Because families and friends, it's too important to let this divide you and destroy the relationships you have. You have to figure out a way to departmentalize this so you can continue to have harmony, love, and respect in your relationships. This is too volatile to allow this to seep back into that. So you just have to say to each other, we're just not going to talk about it. If one person accidentally brings it up, the other person has to say, nope, we're not talking about that. Let's talk about something else. Because I value my love and my friendship more than allowing this situation to end those relationships. And that's where you have to get. That's what we do. We just say, nope, we're not talking about it. Let's talk about whatever. And for us, it's working. I hope that you too, if you are in that situation, that you can find ways to just sidestep it. Because personal relationships are far more important than an argument over an election. Thanks for joining me today. I so very much appreciate your support and your feedback. We are going to be adding guests. We're going to go live at some point. So I can't wait for you to be part of an interactive podcast. We've only been doing this for a couple of weeks now. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your feedbacks and your encouragement. And I hope you truly do get something out of these podcasts. The whole idea is to encourage you to do the same thing, to start talking, to start coming to the middle, because that's where we all have to get, so our communities and our society can learn to talk to each other again. That's how you dissolve conflict. That's how you create love. That's how you create life. And we've got to get there. So please share this podcast. I would love for you to join, follow me, send me a comment. I really do want to hear back from you guys. If there's a subject that you'd like me to discuss, by all means, I'm totally okay with that too. Just let me know, send me a message. And thank you very much for taking the time to join me today on Conversations at Carrie's Corner. It truly is where true change can start, and that's learning to talk to each other again. God bless and have a spectacular rest of your week. And God bless the United States of America. Take care, everyone.